Nani online discussion, and today we have Madam FALECIA, as usual, our guest, and our new guest, Lawrence CHUMA. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Asante.
As I said, today we'll be talking about heritage and technology. Now, we'll start with heritage, then technology, and later on link them up. And as we go on, you will join us with, you will engage us with this discussion by asking questions or bringing us new inputs. And yes, I'm Sebastian, your host. I know you're already fond of me by now. And welcome. Yeah, so heritage. What is heritage? Yeah.
Is it ladies first or?
Ladies first.
Okay, so for me, heritage, I look at it from the word inheritance. So, you know, it's something you inherit, something that is passed on to you. So, yeah, basically that I would say. So, something, it can be something, or can someone be part of the?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Okay, maybe. So yeah, but what is handed over to you? What is passed on to you?
Okay. Yes, Mr. Lawrence.
Yes. So heritage is we talk about practices. We talk about characteristics. We talk about, you know, we talk about physical and non-physical things. It could be things. For instance, physical, you mean the buildings, the structures.
Yes.
Non-physical could be the values, the culture, traditions, you know, language. That is the whole totality of heritage.
Yes.
So basically it is passed down from one generation to the next. And these are the things that were created in the past, but they still hold the value and they still hold the importance to the society.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that he attached value to heritage.
Yes.
Yeah, so that means, okay, is it everything that is passed on to you should have value or anything? Oh, I'm getting to another part of the discussion.
That would be another discussion.
Yeah. But I think anything that is inherited to you, it has a sense of value. Yeah, either it comes with responsibilities also and duties. With, you know, heritage comes with all of that. Like you need to pass it on. You need to keep it the way it is. Maybe, or maybe if it's you put a little of innovation, but you need to make sure that you do not lose the value of the thing that you are inherited to.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because that's why I like the values she said, because basically our parents, for instance, if I talk about your grandfathers, grandparents,
Yes.
they actually had something very important that they used, the experience when they are living, and today we can see the importance. So there are things that I believe for them it was beneficial,
Yes.
and that's the reason why they were able to recommend that, and this will be useful for you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So in adding to that, something can be valuable to the person who hands it over to you, but to you it might not be valuable.
Absolutely. It depends on how you look at it.
Okay. Now, back to heritage. I see that heritage made us based on values most. Okay. Now, heritage, we say it's something that is passed on to us. Yes. I think that gives us a sense of a starting point of discovering who we are. Yes. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, how important it is, you know, for heritage being passed on to you, and knowing the importance of it, and I mean, knowing who you are from it. How is it that important to you? Is it that do I have to base so much on the heritage, or just, you know, because it's a starting point, not that it shows me the path. Okay, this is your culture. Yeah, so you need to follow maybe so and so. Do I have to like carry it on till maybe the day I die, or just, you know?
Yeah, I will maybe share. I was watching a movie recently of this guy who he forgot his past. So he just remembers from 7 years old when he was handed to the orphanage. So his memory consists of his life at the orphanage.
Yes.
But now, yeah, to cut the story short, he came later to realize that his parents were shot dead, and they sort of messed up with the memory, and so yeah, they were trying to take him, away from remembering where he came from, and that troubled him. Like all his life, it sort of lost some sense of direction because he didn't know really. Yeah, he could not trace his parents, his real past, and so now back to this heritage. I think as you're saying, it's a starting point because it's important for someone to know where they are coming from, for them to really get an understanding and even the appreciation, the value that we're talking about, and now like figuring out on how I can move forward. So it constitutes an important part of defining you as a person, as a family, as a nation, I would say, even like a continent or something. The understanding of where you're from, looking at what are the things that have been passed on to you, and as how they are broadly defined by Owens.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she has made it very clear. I think, well, when you talk about heritage, let me talk about a little bit about maybe traditions and the culture, for instance. Yeah. That's they said any society that doesn't have culture, or if it doesn't, that does not uphold to the culture, that society is likely to perish.
Sure.
And that is the challenge we have in this generation.
Yes.
Like we do not exactly know what is our culture. There are things that used to unite us. I don't know about now, but I think Kiswahili, it has been one of the very important language, very important instrument.
Very true.
Now, we had a lot of traditions that were actually very good. In the past, they have this, they say, mtoto wa mwenzako ni wa kwako. You understand?
Yes.
But those times, if you misbehave, if a kid misbehaves, was actually punished irrespective of who the parents are.
Yes.
But currently, of course, you can't. Things have changed.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that there are good things that actually we should embrace them because they united them, and this is what made the nation, the family, the society behave or existed. So I think there are good things that we can talk about. There's so much that we can talk about. But another thing is that the importance of culture, it helps you to define, as she said, because now you have seen a lot of nations, for instance, China, South Korea is another, upcoming very big nations you can see. They have been able to embrace their culture. They are creating the language. They're coming up with things that they are, breathtaking, things of very different in nature. Why? Because they have seen how to synchronize their culture with what they want to come up with. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that when it comes to technology. So I think it's very important when you talk about culture, and everybody who is serious will have that person will have to embrace culture.
Yes. So the most important thing is embracing our culture. I see. Yes. So either way, if it's from family to family, or from our tribes, or nation-wise. Yes.
And when we talk about now culture, again, we need to understand what we mean by culture. Because even the office environment, in the corporate world, they have their own culture. So even a family, it doesn't have to be, the things, because now we have modernization. Like I was born in an urban area, so, but there are things that, it's a culture from when I was raised up in my nuclear family or extended family. What are the things that I learned or I was grounded in while born in the city? So how again we define culture has to be very clear to the viewers and
it is very clear.
To the heritage.
Culture is the total ways of life. So how we live, how we behave, how we practice, how we interact, how we communicate. That forms broadly what we know as a culture.
Yeah, before that I used to think culture is like those traditions and things like that.
Yes.
I like.
Yes, of course. Now the question is culture now a great deal to youth?
Okay, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe when we
you spoke of modern culture, the office environment, but let's say now the youth right now, do they really embrace their culture? Let's say not about this modern culture, the culture which is passed on to us.
Like traditions.
Yeah, like traditions.
And
Yeah,
things like that.
yeah. Basically, mostly those culture. Do youth embrace that type of heritage?
Okay, you want me to?
well, okay, if I may go
Because I
first.
think we have a lot to say on that. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think well, whether it's a great deal, I think it is. It is a very big. It's a big deal for me, I would say, because I've seen other nations embracing their cultures. You know, there are things that actually to them they matter a lot, and I would say have seen so many nations that they've been able to evolve. They've been able to go miles because of their culture. But today, when you look, maybe we'll talk a little bit when it comes to technology. But there's so much that is, you know, they have been able to brand themselves. And today we are envying them, and we are very busy learning their culture without knowing that it took actually time for them to get where they are. So I think it's a great thing if at all we want to get far from now. But secondly, I think for us, for the youth, you know, for the generation at large, the challenge is, what is our culture? Then we should go back and define what is our culture. What are the good things that we want to preserve, that will be able to pass on to the next generation, to the other generations. I think that is something we need to understand.
Okay, so
yeah. So if it's whether it's a great deal or not, I think it is.
Yes.
I think that happens.
Yes. So the thing is, I think, is to really know what our culture is.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, to that, as he's saying, you know, what I don't know, I will not appreciate. Like if I don't know the value of this glass, if I don't hear the story behind it, all I see is just glass.
Okay.
And culture, culture, heritage, the way it's been presented, if it's not really taught, if it's not really, you know, backed up with its relevance, I'll not appreciate it, I'll not value it, because you place a value on something that you really understand.
Absolutely.
So, like, we don't advance, as he's spoken about the Asian community and how Asian countries, how they evolve with their culture, they advance it. For us, you know, heritage is something boring, sort of, the way it's presented. It's not growing.
I think the package.
Yes.
Okay.
So that makes it, you know, for young people.
Okay, maybe I kind of see a certain thing, because we said heritage is something that is handed down, okay?
Yes.
So maybe it's the way it's handed down to the next generation, or maybe it's not handed down at all.
If we talk broadly about the heritage, it involves so many things. I said earlier on, it involves physical and non-physical stuff. For instance, we have national parks. We have like sites, you know, historical sites. We have so many other areas, museums. Those is part of the heritage, you know, and of course those things have been preserved for so many years, and we need to preserve them. You know, so I think so. The importance of that, if I can connect, is that we cannot do away with what was passed down to us, because they, as I said, they saw the importance, and we should also be able to see the importance. So the challenge is maybe the packaging, you know, I don't know, maybe the mechanism, I don't know, the process, I don't know, but it has to do with the way it is packaged.
Yes.
To be able to see the value. We cannot, as she said, you cannot protect something if you do not know the value.
Like in the old times, you know, you sit down with parents, they tell you of the things, those oral traditions.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't see it, but you hear of it and you have pictures in your mind, that the day you see, you know, there could be even false stories.
Absolutely.
But they were.
But they create, you know, they arouse you. You feel it, you know. It's like, I remember when we were in primary school, we used to have this chaka chaka, and there's some songs that we used to sing, like, you guys, you don't. How you could create an imaginary pics that if I ever catch this Idi Amin, I will actually, I don't know what I would do with him. So this is how we want to, you know, it was part of making us, you know, become more loyal to the country,
Patriotic.
patriotic,
Yeah.
you know,
And
those kind of things.
responsible.
Yeah. So I think maybe we need to go back to the roots.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have spoke a lot about heritage. Now let's head to the other side.
Okay.
Yes, technology.
Mm.
I think technology is a broad issue. Yeah, it's like a new heritage of its own. I think, yeah, new culture or a new tradition. So what can we say about technology? What do we know about technology?
Yeah, technology. I think it is a means to an end, for me. Like it's a channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a channel of which, yeah, you it's a tool that you use to transmit whether it's a message or whatever. So like heritage, you can use technology to present, to preserve, to showcase, you know, inspire, whatever, to advance as well. Yeah, so that's what I can say about technology from my point of view.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah. I think maybe to add on, I think technology. It's a good word. It's exciting, you know, and basically technology is the combination of two words:
Yeah.
technique and logia. These are Greek words. It means the science of craft. It means an art. It means the craft. It means, so it's actually a combination. It's a collection of techniques, skills, process, and methods in the production of goods or services.
Okay.
So I'm really sorry for that very long definition, but that is the technology. Now we have seen you can apply technology in different areas of health, environment. You talk about education. You talk about agriculture. So how you practice it, or the way you come to you invent. It involves a lot of things, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, that is about technology.
Technology. Okay. So technology is from my own perspective. I think technology makes things easier. Yeah. It's like innovation of all ways. Yeah. To make them easier and just innovate them. Yes. Now let's come straight to let's say the internet. Yes, yeah, and let's say social media platforms. Now this all comes from the technology, the advancement of people and goods and services. I think, yeah. So social media helps exposes us to many things. Now we can see like almost everything, yeah, through our phones, through our tablets or whatever. When you just connected, you are like everywhere, yeah. Now how is it important for us to be that exposed, yeah? How is it important, yeah?
Okay, so I'm just as you're asking, I was reflecting on how we have used technology as something to blame for the erosion of culture and like people are living out their heritage and things like those. But as we said, it's just a tool. It exposes you to see and experience different kinds of heritages. So you can say, I know how Tanzanians are or how my society is. And through internet, as you say, social media platforms, it connects me to the world in a much easier way. And I get to experience other kinds of cultures and traditions and things like that. Now, what I decide to do, whether to leave my heritage and start adopting a different kind of heritage, and whether that is good for me and for what reasons. Now those are the things that now depend on how a person or how a society is grounded with, and in terms of how being told to appreciate their culture and things like that. So I think it's back to the person. You get the opportunity, but how you use that opportunity is now up to you. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Lawrence.
Yes. Well, I think technology is really good, and for me, I'm a pro, technology, because I can see currently, for instance, in agriculture, you do not need a vast land to produce, right quantity. You just need a small piece of land, and you can produce, significantly. So I can see That is because of the improvement of seeds, for instance,
Yes.
the hybrid of seeds that could produce a lot of produce. Now, the challenge that we have, I can see with the technology, which of course, because it keeps evolving,
Yes.
it keeps evolving and everybody's coming up with new stuff. And this for sure, I know nobody knows what comes tomorrow.
Yes.
If a person tells you that tomorrow this is how it will be,
Yeah.
maybe not true, because nobody knows what tomorrow will look like,
Yeah.
you know, because of technology.
Yes.
So everybody's trying to come up with new things, new methodology, new tools, which is okay. Now the challenge that we have is that how do we position ourselves to ensure that we benefit from the technology? And I can say, for us, in most of the African countries, I would say, and other developing nations, we tend to, we import a lot of technology, you know, and a very few, whether, I don't know, whether by any reason, I don't want to talk about that, but I think we do not support our own technology
Very
based
good.
on our African context.
Yes.
And this is the challenge that I see. So how do we import, you know, whatever technology without affecting the heritage, the culture, and whatever we have said, the traditions? That is where the challenge is. Because as I said earlier, our friends in the West, they have branded themselves, you know, in a way that they will be able to sell to the world their culture.
True.
They put everything with whatever in technology, and whenever we buy the equipments, the phone, the gadgets, and everything,
We adapt.
we whether we know it knowingly or knowingly, we
Yes.
adopt.
So okay,
Yes.
from what I understand, what you're saying is
Yes.
the technology we do receive is packaged with culture which is not, let's say, which is not African.
Adaptable, compatible.
Yeah, I think-
Is it? Yeah. Okay. So what we do now, as the I may say the youth right now, is we mostly imitate what comes with the technology. Yeah, and we do not embrace it or put our own culture into the technology that comes with it.
Absolutely.
Is it the challenge?
Yeah, and again back to what he's saying, it's like as young people, I don't know, Africans, so it's like again, if you said about positioning yourself, like if you don't have something of your own, and we have so much rich heritage, like we have so much richness, but we said that we don't know. Oh, there are no ways to help us know.
Yeah.
So obviously, they say if you don't stand up for something, you will settle for anything, you know, that comes.
Yes.
So it's much easier to really, you know, think that that is cool because you haven't really, you know, seen how cool or cooler your thing is. So again, back to, you know, positioning, we really.
Okay. So from now what we have been talking right here, it seems that technology is not bad at all, generally.
Not at all.
Yeah, but we are the ones who decide to make it bad. Yes. Now how do the openness of technology, yes, the exposure of technology, how do we benefit from it? I mean, in a way which is when you link it with heritage, yes, the openness of technology and heritage, how does it affect heritage basing on this generation right now, yeah, positively and negatively? How does technology affect the heritage? Yeah.
Okay.
Just go first. I will come there.
Okay, I think I'll be also reflecting as we move on. But I'm looking at the positive things.
Yeah.
We can use the technology to actually, you know, preserving and sharing more of this heritage. Because some of the people, I think even sometimes I get aware that I don't know so much of my country or of my roots when I get out of the country, and people start asking interesting questions about the way of life and things like that. And then I understand that I need to learn more. And then sometimes when I look at the websites and, you know, how Tanzania is expressed on the internet and social medias, I find like very little is out there, like African stories or, you know, traditions, not so much. It's just nowadays recently with evolving of these social media platforms that our stories are out there, but people had different perceptions, different understanding, and that affected ourselves. So using technology positively can be a platform to really tell our stories, showcase our things, and it's not like civilization is the only cold way. Yeah, so there are so many better ways, and that people did things, our forefathers, our grandfathers, that were really great, that needs to be embraced, like their strong values of unity, of strength, and like as he was saying, every child's every child is everybody's child. I don't know, but a way that you can discipline each other in a way that it shapes the society.
Yes.
So that is one of the things, and as young people, I think those are the things that we need to embrace positively.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think, as I said earlier, technology is a good thing. It's a tool. It's a vehicle.
Yes.
So we either use it in a good way and we survive, or use it in a bad way and we perish.
Sure.
You see, so for me, I think there are things that we can use. There's so much that we can use. Currently, we have got an opportunity to get everything. It's just at the fingertips. You understand? Today, I don't have to travel to other places. I can just go through my website or my Google and get whatever I need. So that is the positive. So the same way, we can actually, especially this generation, we can also use, as she said, the same way to communicate, Tanzania to the outside world. So we need to understand, to be conversant with our culture. We need to understand what we need, our heritage. We have 7 national parks in Tanzania. We have the highest mountain in Africa. We have got a lot we can talk about. But also, I think we can also use the same technology to record movies or create a kind of videos that will be able to tell the story of our grandparents, how they used to live. And that is one of the ways of preserving the culture. Because if we don't tell our culture, nobody else will. So I think we have to know as a nation where we came from, why we are here today, and where we are likely to go. I think that's very important. But also, if we do not want to brand our culture, our heritage, if we don't want to preserve them, one day this nation will perish. Because we embrace a lot of things from the West, and we copy paste. We copy everything, and when the original comes, then we have nothing to copy. So that, I think, that is the challenge we have, especially in this generation of ours.
Okay, now one last thing. Nice inputs. We are almost out of time, and we have our viewers here. And thank you for watching. Someone said Mr. Lawrence, cousin Zuri, great job. And now before we finish up, I have just one thing to say. Because you have said that we have so many things to be, let's say, proud of, to show the world that we do have such and such heritage or culture or tradition or things, things we possess, as you have said, national parks, Now, I see that the issue is that we do not embrace the things, we do not, let's say, market them, let the world know that we do have such and such. Now, how do many of us have the, how do we make it visible to the world? Because I think most of us, especially youth, know many things about Western culture than our own. So how do we make that our own culture really our own, and make other people know about it? And through technology, please.
Okay, I'll be very brief, and then I will give it to him.
Okay.
So I think as for other countries, I think it starts with the education. Education is a very powerful tool, but now it depends again how that it's packaged, as he said. So if it's packaged in a way that is boring, again, students will just cram it and you will not see the relevance of it. So how is it? From when you're young, you learn to appreciate those things. You grow up with them, you see them, and it instills in you the sense of responsibility to value what is passed on to you, and to be able to share it, like without anyone telling you. So I think those people, that's what they are proud. They are proud to speak Chinese, to speak Japanese, to speak. We should be proud of speaking Swahili, and actually, tell others and what about it. So things like that. But also in business, I would say, I think now with the social media, there's evolution to try different opportunities. But
Yes.
we need to have that mindset that, I love this and I want to show. There are people who are doing photography as a career, and they're going to different countries in Africa, whatever, and they're showcasing different societies, and then they're earning a living. So how do we see that? Is it something of value or not?
Yes.
Yeah, basically she has touched a little bit so much. What I would say, what is actually, that is systematic, it depends on the system. But then the system takes time, because it has to do with educational system, how we revise it, we advertise, and we make it a little bit, easy for students, the pupils, everybody to be able to understand. But also, the issues of identifying what is where, I think that is also important. What I would say is what we, the youth, can do. I think that is important. Yes. Forget about this, the system, the policy and everything, maybe it's not much of our help. But I think what we can do, there's so much we can do about that. First, let us identify what is available in our country. We need to know what is available where, the mountains where they, we have the national parks where they, we have different animals, what they, things like that. That is very important. Let's know the history of the great hero. I mean, the heroes that we have had in the country, the Nkwawas, people from different places. We need to know the history. That is very important. But secondly, which is also very important, I think it's also, let's take time to invest in terms of money, in terms of, I think we cannot go away with investment.
True.
Yes.
We should. Other people investing so much to ensure that their culture, their traditions, everything, they are known.
Yes.
So we cannot avoid that. So let's invest our time, let's invest our money, let's do something. So as a youth, let's be creative. Whenever you are, do something. Don't feel that, for instance, you belong to a chaga or you are muha or somewhere, it's a darkness. No, it's not. So shamba, it's a pride. You are, after all, you are African. So let's feel that we are African, feel proud of that. Otherwise, there are people out there, they're just proud the way they are in a white country. So I think that could be one of the ways we can do, and I believe one very day will make the world very, very, the better place for everybody.
Sure, to embrace themselves and
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for the brief inputs. Great topic, and thank you, our viewers, for watching. We could speak about this, I think, the whole day. Many things just keep on coming up, and so I think the point is maybe we as youth and everybody else should just try to be creative, as you have said, be proud of yourself, embrace whatever culture, tradition, or anything that you think it is important, just to put it out there and be proud of it. Because if you are, for instance, okay, just a minute, for instance, as you have said, if you're a Chaga or Muha, it's easy for you to say I'm a Chaga or I'm a Muha from, to tell the other person. I think it should be the same way. You should embrace your culture. Is when you go abroad, when you go to Kenya, you'll go and say, I'm a Tanzanian, if you go further, you'll say, I'm African. So as you go on, you just carry a lot of, things to represent, So if
say I'm a global citizen.
Of course, So I think that's a great way to start with yourself and dig up anything, become creative, and just put it out there. So thank you guys for watching. Our session will be on YouTube, so please, when you see it, subscribe. And our host today, Madam FALECIA, and our new guest, Mr. Lawrence Chuma. And this is your guy, as usual, Sebastian. See you next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Please follow and subscribe to our social media pages or contact us to register for our programs.